so much for Solomon Night.
I'm on my way to Bermuda. You're not gonna see McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell for a long time. I'm in the Milky Way. And that's a bunch of extra charges. It's an arm and a leg. Yeah!
There's a lot to digest right there with Josh. World of T-shirts. He went on his cruise adventure, and it went about as expected. He drank, he threw up. There were posts on Reddit talking about him on the cruise that turned out to be fake, but the platform, the account might have been real. It was a whole convoluted mess discussing the adventures of World of T-shirts. Now, it sort of morphed into this, he just brings up some dude dying, and it just never really gets brought up again. Yep, somebody's dead, and people were worried that this was going to be Josh's endeavor with him being on the ship, and that did not come to fruition. He mostly was kind of low-key about most things. I mean, he was doing his usual shtick, a lot of Titanic references, a lot of drinks, a lot of hoo-ha's, hanging out with teens and stuff, and I just want to put this out there as a proponent of Daniel Larson for 2024. I appreciate World of Teachers' support and voting for Daniel Larson, even though we didn't get past the finish line this time, but 2028 is coming soon. So we got some fun things to discuss today. We're going to discuss some funny Halloween costumes that people have been doing of World of T-shirts, and there's also been the Alex Novell documentary dropped on Mr. Based. So he did a live stream, there was a lot of cope, there was a lot of seethe, and there's just some fun tidbits that World of T-shirts mentions. Now, as I talked about previously, this Thursday, so tomorrow, if this video gets out on time, World of T-shirts is going to Germany, so we'll see how that shakes out. I think it's going to be fine again. A lot of people have even been mentioning, and I've seen the posts online that while Josh, he's kind of outlandish, he does some deplorable things, I guess you could say. He still is living like a pretty decent lifestyle right now, no cares in the world, going out and partying, but let's evaluate some of the things going on behind the scenes.
Sir, if you're gonna keep acting like that, you will be arrested. Do you understand?
There's this guy named
you need to
Douglas
get off property right now. Get off property.
I can't afford a lawyer! Citizen.
I don't care about that.
I'm an American.
Me in the face. This is not okay.
America is the worst country. You can't treat people like this.
You cannot kick me in the face, sir.
You can't treat people like this.
This is legitimately one of the best impersonations I've seen of Josh in a long time. Now, if you remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about that live streamer showing up and impersonating Josh and Josh having a freak out. This guy is nailing his mannerisms, his voice, everything. It's across the board excellent. The random bystanders, I think this is real. Obvious, I don't know, it's like we've reached this point in real life where in the past when you do like Punk'd or whatever with Ashton Kutcher, it's like the cameras come out and everybody's like, oh, it's a gag, it's a goof, haha. Nowadays with social media, you can have a dude literally standing right next to this incident, filming it, following him around, and people will not be able to understand if it's true or false. And that's a crazy reality that we exist in at this point. I also love all the people dressing up, running into the street just like Josh. It's great. There were a lot of people who dressed up as World of T-shirts for Halloween. He's an internet sensation. Everybody wants to screech and holler. And speaking of screeching and hollering, Josh had a bit of a dilemma recently where his social medias might have been compromised, and he didn't take it very well.
Can you do something? Oh my god. Oh my god. Facebook works, but not... Oh, is it... Please tell me it's working again. Why would they do that to me? Track me out of my own account.
I literally thought that the crying and the dog sniffles at the very beginning were like overlaid, were just another audio file that somebody put on top of this, but no, he was actually groveling over the fact that he couldn't log into his Instagram account. And why would they do this to him? Why would they forbid World of T-Shirts from getting onto his Instagram account? Which I think is kind of funny, because if you go to his Instagram account, it has like one post on it advertising some of his merch. So it's like, I don't even know what he's trying to get accomplished there. Maybe he's got some baddies in his Explore page that he has to, Gurk his Stirk to. I'm not really certain, but I also am not exactly sure where in the timeline this video exists from. It's before he got his tattoo, and I think it's before he even went on the cruise trip, but it's kind of funny. You reach this point where if you are ingratiated with creating content on social media, or if you really just are a doom scroller at heart, some of this stuff can drive people mad, where if they can't access their social medias, they're losing their mind. They have no other purpose in life. And, it's the pot calling the kettle black at this point when I say it, but it's like he's not even an Instagram creator and he's losing his marbles over it. However, we do get a reunification with Mr. Bass, everybody's favorite character. Let's clap it up for Mr. Bass. So Josh ends up going to Mr. Bass' house, and he gives a nice little fun recap of one of his favorite moments while he was on his cruise. A good use of money, a good use of time, and a good use of stomach bile.
Did you ever throw up on someone's shoes on the cruise?
No.
Because someone typed into the Facebook group that you threw up on their shoes. Was that a lie?
I don't know. I threw up all over my clothes.
Oh, shit. So you might have thrown up on someone's shoes?
Yeah.
It was true. You guys read it and you thought he was being trolled, but it was true. Probably it splashed on their shoes.
Yeah.
You probably didn't get them direct. Probably wasn't like right on the shoe.
We've also reached the point that Josh gets really giddy over all of his mess ups that go on in his everyday life. This is not something that you should be celebrating, you throwing up all over himself. I mean, he did this when he was in Las Vegas too, if you remember. He was standing in the lobby, he had thrown up all over his pants. The guys, the broccoli-haired dudes, were trying to help him out, trying to, give him a new pair of shorts to throw on. But those cargo shorts are drippy, boy, both literally and metaphorically. So it's just like the lack of conscience to be like, yeah, man, I really need to reevaluate my life. Everything has been going down really hard, and now I'm throwing up onto people on a cruise. And I just want to throw out, this doesn't really have anything to do with the throw up incident, but I want to throw out this theory that I've read, that people are saying that the reason that Josh is going on all these vacations is because when Mr. Bass or somebody else does not pay for a hotel, he, I think, is realizing that potentially getting a cheap, cruise flight to some place would save him more money than staying in a hotel in New York City during the time. That's why he's going to like Mexico, Cancun, Las Vegas, San Francisco, all these things. I don't know if the math really adds up there, because you're paying for the flight and then you're still paying for some place to stay wherever you end up. So I don't really think the math is mathing, but in Josh's brain, it might make sense for him if he's like, well, Mr. Bass or whoever's not going to pay for my hotel room, so I'm just going to go hop on a cruise and sail around the world, and it's going to be great. I mean, that's the captain's calling, if anything. I'm sure you've heard of the void calls to you whenever you're thinking about doing something bad. Well, the captain's calling is to get out onto that ship, get some scurvy, throw up onto some people, potentially get thrown in the brig. I mean, there's a lot of options out there. So we transition from Josh talking about his wonderful voyage into the seas, and now we get another wig freak out situation. I don't really know how to describe it, but basically they bring another woman into the house. They go out and prowl about on the streets. It's a typical Mr. Bass dream.
Cool one.
Yeah,
Look
we're
at
all
that.
tired.
Let me show everybody. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I've looked at
Why does your tattoos look so smooth?
Josh Block sent $20.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
It took balls for me to grab those girls off
Yeah.
the street, right?
Yeah.
And I promised them 50 and they forgot to ask for the money. So I won in the Jewish way.
Yeah.
There's just, where do you even start with a situation like this? So, World of T-Shirts, I feel like, has been getting very, I don't want to say handsy, that's not the right word, because he's not trying to be intimate when he does it, but like, it's kind of like when a little kid wants to rub their hands on something because they're like evaluating textures and feels throughout the world. It's a niche relationship, but Josh keeps doing that where he will rub up on Mr. Bass' arm, this chick's leg because of her tattoo. He wants to see how it feels. He says that his tattoos feel really rough. Why do mine feel rough and hers so good? Well, part of it is because if you saw the Bermuda tattoo, and it's a lot of his tattoos in all honesty recently, his shakes are so bad that, and like, it might be a combination of the shakes being bad and the tattoo artist not being great, but his line work is so bad on a lot of his tattoos, you just like can't pull a straight line because of him having these alcoholic shakes the entire time. And now you got some lady that spent good money on her tattoo, and he's confused as to why, when he's going to these other countries in the Caribbean, that his tattoos aren't turning out as well. Or when Mr. Bass pulls some random tattoo artist to come inside his apartment to tattoo Josh's arm, why that one didn't work out too well. So he's trying to evaluate that situation. Then you got Mr. Bass walking right in front of some poor innocent girl, just trying to go home, just trying to cross the street. Hey, how are you doing? Well, you know, it's kind of like how dogs can evaluate a person's character right away. Most people in the wild can see Mr. Bass, and they can see him filming and following around Josh, who's wearing a pink wig, and be like, that's probably a person I want to stay away from. I'm going to try and avoid that. And now he's bragging about, once again, taking advantage of more women and not paying them their respectful dues. That sounds familiar. Surely Mr. Bass has never done anything like that before. Surely he's never, brought women in with the idea of doing something else and then not getting the restitution that they rightfully deserve. But regardless, I mentioned in the beginning that Alex Novell released a documentary. I'm not going to talk about the whole thing here. One of the big moments was a phone call that allegedly happened, allegedly in Minecraft, happened between Alex Novell and Mr. Bass, discussing the whole incident of the woman that Mr. Bass allegedly game ended. I know I have to toe the line with YouTube with saying things like this, but regardless, here's the phone call.
Yo, what's going on? Don't record me right now.
Okay.
You promise?
Yeah, I'm not recording you.
I'm the one who had to connect to get the GHB, and we got it from this fucking gorgeous DJ. Her name was Lisa Kensington, right? So I bought it from DJ Lisa Kensington, and remember, I almost died from this shit.
Yeah.
Getting her to drink that shit or to sneak that shit on her, that's not killing her. That's not intent to kill.
So following this whole situation, when Mr. Bass was doing his live stream, he was coping and seething the entire time. People were sending donations and talking about it, and he was saying, oh, this is defamation, he's slandering me, he's cutting up clips, and he's putting them out of context. The typical lolcow response anytime that they get called out for anything, basically. Now, we don't know for certain, I guess, but this sounds just like Mr. Bass. He's giving physical evidence to things that were occurring, and obviously we've all assumed the worst from the very beginning. And they've even, I haven't really kept up with this part of the story, but people are starting to reach out to this DJ Lisa Kensington, whoever that is, and she's now looking into it. So like, there's a whole thing related to it. Who knows how the situation actually shakes out. Now, this happened a while ago, so it's like the statute of limitations might have already occurred, but he basically confirms right here that he was slipping it into her drink, and oh, that's not my fault if anything happens post that. I mean, it's just really grotesque, man. It's really, really bad, and like, I'm glad that there's not a scenario where people are trying to like morph bad people into being like a positive influence or whatever you want to say online, like Mr. Based. 99% of the people that interact in this space understand that he's a deplorable, disgusting human being who deserves no remorse regardless of whatever happens to him. So I'm glad that we reached that point. I want to finish this video on a bit more of a more positive note, I guess you could say, a bit more goofy of a note, where Mr. Bass Pimp Rage comes out once again. Now, this is a clip from a while ago. I just never covered it before, so I just want to include it at the end.
That's fine. No, you don't get a hotel room if you play that.
It's okay. It's not that bad.
All right, then any day that you want to play music when the show's on, you get your own hotel room.
No,
Then turn it off. You better turn it off. You have no discipline.
Why do I have to turn?
You have to have the smallest amount of respect for when we're doing the
Why
live
do I
stream.
have to turn? It's not that bad.
You're half the show or more. You got to pay attention.
So this is literally like a father figure interacting with Josh. No, Josh, no, you have to pause your video game. Come on, let's go do our homework right now. You're half the show. You have to bring in the donations, baby. You can't just be sitting there full blast volume playing your music as you're picking out your next artistic desire to post onto your TikTok page. We can't be having that, all right? We need to nip that in the bud right away. That way, Mr. Bass gets more money. So it's funny. It's cute because I guess I never really thought about the idea that Josh wasn't paying for his hotels, but it kind of makes sense because I feel like that entire situation would stress Josh out. It would make him go into a freak out. So he's able to, and that's probably also like, he's probably not really getting money for Mr. Bass. Mr. Bass probably just says, yeah, I'll cover, you come on the show, I'll cover your expenses, you know, I'll get you drinks, I'll let you stay in a hotel. So it's exactly what we would expect from Mr. Bass at this point. But either way, guys, that is covering the cruise trip. We'll see how the Germany trip shakes out, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.